So I broke the weight hook on both of my Dolica tripods, so it's probably time to review them finally.
Are you tired of your streams or voice chats sounding like this?
Do you want the comfort and quality of high-end headphones without sacrificing microphone quality? Antline's ModMic 5 is the perfect solution. Their dual capsule microphone attaches easily and securely to your existing headphones and fits within any setup thanks to the modular cable system. It comes with a cable wrap to protect your wires, an optional inline mute switch, and sounds a little something like this. Check the link in the video description to learn more. A while back ago, I did a video on my fluid video head for my tripods that I use to get some of my panning and tilting shots. It's a pretty generic design, this one from Untitled, but it is very affordable and provides some decent results. In that video, I mentioned that I also have a slider and tripods, and you guys were interested in watching those reviews as well. That was about 8 months ago. Let's get to it. My name's Adam EposVox, and this is the Dolica ProLine GX series, specifically GX600B200, what a model number, tripod. And I have been using 2 of these for my video shoots for about 8 months now, and I absolutely love them, but I also have broken a certain piece of both of them. So the tripod itself comes with a basic ball and joint head attached to it, which I immediately removed for my Untitled fluid video head, or I attach them directly to my video slider, which can just screw into the bottom of them. So pro number 1 of spending $50 on a tripod like this versus the 20 or less cheap plastic tripod is you can actually remove the tripod head and replace it with one that actually does something useful, on top of the fact that the tripod head that actually came with it was actually a lot better than most of the cheap ones. Plus, it's made of metal, so you can drop this and not break it into a million pieces. The legs aren't going to fall apart. And in fact, the only piece of plastic is what I ended up breaking, but it did take me 8 months. So this is a fairly basic tripod layout. You have 3 legs. They've got little nice padded grips on them. They've got a switch so you can extend them completely out and get some very flat, low to the ground shots, or you can reverse it and get upside down shots as well. It's got a built-in little level bubble, which I don't find myself using all that often, but is still pretty handy and cool to have in there. And then it has a very satisfying locking system for the legs and some pretty decent feet on there, which also come off, or you can screw to adjust to get the level just right as well. And then the center column does adjust to raise and lower, and the gripping mechanism for that is very stable. This thing does not budge at all. The problem is the tripod itself does not weigh a whole heck of a lot. So even, as you can probably see here, well, okay, part of this is the table, but especially once you start extending it or getting it high up, if I'm trying to use the video tripod head, the tripod itself wobbles quite a bit because it weighs a good amount more than the cheap plastic tripods, but it doesn't weigh enough to fully stabilize a full video head and a DSLR on top of it when I'm trying to pan and tilt, or even when I have the big slider up on 2 of these bad boys trying to use that. That is what these hooks that are supposed to be at the bottom are for, is they're supposed to be for attaching a sandbag so that you can weigh it down. So I bought some cheap $20 sandbags off of Amazon. They're not super great, but I filled them up with sand and they seemed to get the job done, and they worked for a little while, but eventually I put a sandbag on and my first tripod, the hook just immediately broke right off. Well, shit. So then on that side, I just put the sandbag looped over top of the slider and still hooked on this one. But then on this one, I accidentally let the column drop all the way down on its own with the sandbag on the hook, and the hook piece went flying, and I've still yet to find the remaining plastic of it. And I've now broken both hooks. Now again, this lasted me 9 months, and the rest of the tripod is still in pristine condition and serves me amazingly every day. I just can no longer weigh it down very effectively. Now, the actual hook piece I just yanked off the bottom here does have 2 little tabs that push in to attach into the column pole. And if you remove it, then you can completely remove the column itself. And like I said, you can turn it upside down and things like that. So in theory, this hook should be replaceable. And I'm actually going to look into replacement options on Amazon fairly shortly and see if I can just get a couple of these cheaply and maybe hopefully have some actual metal hooks to them. But that is the only cheap plastic element to this tripod. And while it is the piece that broke, the rest of the tripod is in great shape. And for photos or for basic video work, it's going to serve you just fine. And the hooks did work amazingly for sandbagging up until this point. It's a wonderful tripod. I highly recommend it for video. Tripods are one of those things where everyone tells you to spend a ton of money on tripods, and all the reasoning seems to make sense. And actually, my favorite tripod is the one that my big DSLR rig is setting on right now. And it's an Amazon Basics one, but it costs a good $150 or so. And it's the best tripod I own in terms of just handling weight and holding up. But it's a lot of money. It's hard to, I don't know, it's one of those things where it's hard to justify spending the money on it, no matter how many people tell you to. I've always been that way. I've always had tons of cheap plastic tripods. I was like, I don't get it. But when I got my slider, I immediately noticed using two completely different cheap plastic tripods to try to balance this thing just was not working whatsoever. So I grabbed these Dolica ones as per a recommendation from Roberto Blake. It has worked out greatly. But like I said, I did break the hooks. So if you really want to put some heavy sandbags on there, or maybe you just need a different sandbag mounting style. Mine have these big old fat handles that they hook with, which don't even hook well on these hooks in the first place. But either way, pretty good tripod. It just, I don't know, the hook didn't hold up super well. So I will look into replacement hooks, and if I find any, I will post a link to them in the description below. As far as how the actual tripod works and holds up, the legs, it takes up very little space. And like I said, it doesn't weigh a ton despite being built of what feels like some pretty robust metal. Once I attach the video head to it, I've never had any issues with it like coming unscrewed or whatever unless I'm trying to. It's actually fairly difficult to remove. And they also screw into my video slider bottom very, very well. The adjustments for the leg height and like how far down the legs go and things like that all work amazingly. Very tight, very strict tolerances, and the grips for the legs have never worn out in the entire like 9 months I've been using them. So that has been wonderful. And as far as getting like an exact height and things like that, I've had some pretty great luck being able to match up the two tripods and getting exactly the height and spot that I want. And like I said, I was also very impressed that the grip for the column to raise to raise when you tighten it, it holds up pretty well, and it does not add any extra wobble whatsoever. I simply was using the hook to sandbag the whole tripod altogether. But it's a pretty great little tripod. I definitely recommend it. Again, Dolica ProLine GX series, and then mine is GX600B200. Product link will be in the description below. I hope to take a look at more of these kinds of things. I will also do a quick overview of my slider as well. It's a little old now, but it's still, I use it every now and then. I love taking a look at this stuff. I want to get more into photo video gear. Let me know if you liked the video by smashing the like button, getting subscribed for more awesome tech videos and audio videos as well. That was weird to say. And I will see you next time.